Welcome to the Wildcast Podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios, with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome back to Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast Podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, I am your host, Adam, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. J-Rock, Jeremy Boucher. We just decided J-Rock before we made the joke. Nah, Mr. Boucher is here. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing better looking at your laptop and the score there.
Oh, yeah.
As we record this during the Wildcats preseason game up in Bathurst.
No Hawaiian shirt tonight, but I do have a golf shirt with pineapples on it.
Sensing a theme.
Yeah.
Sensing a theme.
Watermelon water is also on the schedule.
Yes. It is preseason, it is summer, and we're back talking hockey, and it just feels good to be back week after week after week. You talked about it last week. I know Jamie Tozer was pretty excited. Bachelor in Paradise, what do you got for him? Because he is listening.
I know Demi showed up last night, which Demi is a big favorite of mine.
Okay.
She's what you would call a switch hitter. So she prefers both of the genders.
Yep.
She decided to go on a date with a man last night. They did a couple kissing sessions. And then the man, big jerk face that he is, decided to tell her that, they should look at other options. So big jerk face, forget his name, but we'll just call him Big Jerk Face.
Seems appropriate.
And, that's my update from Bachelor in Paradise. I'm hoping to watch there's another episode tonight. So, I'm liking these these Mondays and Tuesdays back-to-back Bachelors in Paradise shows. It's I'm liking it.
Well, I know that we do have the Mooseheads preview next week, and then the Sea Dogs after that, I do believe. So you may want to be caught up for 2 weeks. We'll see if we can get Jamie Tozer
We're
in.
going to have a half-hour Bachelor in Paradise.
No, exactly. We're going to introduce the show, and then I'm just going to sit back. Jeremy's going to host the Bachelor in Paradise update on our show. So if you're not caught up within the next couple weeks, get caught up. Big Bachelor in Paradise segment coming up. Hell's Kitchen, Young Guns. Are you caught up?
Caught up.
Yeah. We're getting to the Black Jackets.
We are next week. The Black Jackets final 7, and there's
we got Antonio, Bryn, Emily, Kaya, Megan, Steve, and Trenton. For me, I like Kaya or Trenton.
Yeah, I'm a big Trenton fan myself, and yeah, I'm with you. I think they're both. I like Bryn for the sake of she's Bryn. She's
Yeah.
She's a talented
cook.
I like that. I like Trenton or Kaya.
I think Steve's a bit of a wild card.
Steve,
he's a little quiet, but he's
if
a really good
find
cook.
his voice.
Yeah.
I think he's got a legitimate chance to maybe take down a Trenton in one of the final episodes. But no, next week's gonna be fun. I mean, there's 7 left. 5 get Black Jackets, so 2 are going home next week.
You got a prediction on which 2 you think it is? I think it's gonna be
go Antonio.
Yeah, Antonio, and I think Megan.
Yeah, Megan or Bryn would be my guess.
Oh, okay, 2 Reds.
Yeah. No. So Antonio, and then either Megan or Bryn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of that scenario I think is gonna play down.
All right. Well, we'll get back and we'll see who gets the Black Jackets next week. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, as well. TikTok, we're doing more videos. We'll see how that continues to go. And here on the YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe there. Quick question. Let's we did a poll again.
We did.
And the question was, do you support mandatory vaccinations in order to attend QMJHL games? I know last week we talked about were we going to have that. The OHL come out and said all fans attending games will have to have the double vaccine. The poll it finished up about 97 votes. 89% said yes, they are in favor of it. 11% said no. I'm very much in favor of this. My only question with this is how is it going to work? Especially, I have no doubt eventually the QMJHL is going to get to this point. I don't think you'll see teams do it before the league announces it. I think they'll wait to see if it's a league mandated thing. My only question is how is this going to work for, season ticket holders? It's too late now. The season tickets have already been printed or processed, or it's fairly soon. they're going to have people stamping every ticket. Like, I know the Mooseheads went to digital tickets. So is it going to be something where you take a picture of your vaccine card that says you're double vaxxed and that's what you carry? Are they going to allow you to have a picture on your phone? Because I don't really feel like I want to carry my vaccine paper, it's not even a card yet, to every home game. And I feel like as a season ticket holder, I know they have the season ticket entrance, so maybe the first game or two, if they can keep an usher, the same usher who sees the same faces week after week, so that they know, like, hey, Adam and Layla, they've got the double vax, they have their season tickets, they come through this entrance. I just wonder how it's going to work. I totally support doing it. You're seeing more and more professional teams. I know the Oilers just announced, the Flames announced, almost
Blue Jays,
the CFL,
Canucks.
except for Edmonton and Saskatchewan. But I feel like the Elks are going to be not far behind if the Oilers have announced everything. So, and I mean, if the Oilers are doing it, the Oil Kings will be doing it. So you got to feel the WHL. But obviously, I have a feeling you're with the 89%.
100%. I'm in full support of this.
100% of the 89%.
100% of the it works 60% of the time, all the time.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not very many people know this, but the website that you went on to book your vaccine appointment, you can actually go on there and make an appointment to get a digital vaccination certificate. I haven't done it yet. Right. I've got it tear up on the computer screen, so I don't know even how it works. I think you just go in the same way you'd go and book your vaccine, and it chooses is it your first dose, second dose, third dose. Well, I guess there's no third doses, but one of the options is something about a digital. Here it is right here. My Health New Brunswick registration code appointment. Must have a New Brunswick Medicare card to verify something. And it just if you already have a My Health account with your registration code, you don't need a new code. Log on to see your immunization record. So you can, I guess you can actually go on and get something like a digital vaccination record.
Yeah.
So it's not well known yet. But I know there's there's talks within New Brunswick government of having like the whole vaccine passport thing, which Quebec is coming out with as of September 1st. I think BC's doing the same, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the provinces come out and do the same too. So keep an eye on that, because I don't want to be bringing my vaccine papers to every game. So
that's a recipe for losing it, right?
Exactly.
And then you're up Schatz Creek without a paddle or whatever you want to say. But it's are you a little surprised the Q hasn't announced something yet? I know Shawinigan? Is it Shawinigan that has the test, the preseason game? They're doing you got to show vaccine to get into it. I feel like it's one of the teams is using.
Is it tonight?
It might be.
Yeah, because
I think it's Shawinigan that's using it.
I think it must be, because I actually just saw on Twitter that there's protesters outside the Cataracts Arena protesting the whole vaccine passport thing while the game's going on. So it's got to be that. But yeah.
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
Time could be better spent actually getting the vaccine and enjoying a hockey game.
Exactly.
Right?
So bad.
But yeah, no, I don't doubt that we're gonna have them. I just wonder what the policy is going to be as we go into, like, is there something on Ticketmaster that you're gonna have to fill out, or after you buy your tickets then you get there? Because, and my favorite argument, especially when I was reading some of the comments on the pro rinks, well, if I have to show my report, then I want the usher that takes my ticket to show his report, and the guy that handles my food. Seriously? Don't you think that maybe the guy that got the job probably had to prove that he's double vaccinated to get the job as this thing's starting to roll out? So it's a little ridiculous. But, yeah, no, at some point it's going to happen. And, just like Jeremy said last week, just go get your vaccination. Like, we're not going to get political. We're not going to tell you what to do. But if you want to be cool like us, probably should get your vaccination.
Eventually, it's going to be mandatory.
Yeah, everywhere.
You won't be able to go anywhere without it. So you might as well get it.
Nope, that's exactly. All right, no news and notes from around the queue because, I mean, the we don't really have a lot going on. It's preseason, so there's cuts everywhere, but we don't need to get into all that. So let's just stick close to home.
Wildcast Training Camp Report.
All right. Well, I kind of forgot. I thought there was an ending music to that. Only 1 week, and I already forgot the end of the music there. Last week, Thursday, Friday, the Wildcats rookies went up against the St. John rookies. On Friday nights, some cuts were made after that as the veterans rolled into town. Not much, like we said, there wasn't much we were going to hold against this team in these two rookie games against pretty veteran-laden roster in St. John. We both went to the game on Friday night at the Propane Plex, as I call it now. The Superior Propane Center. Jeremy, let you in a little secret here. Jeremy came and picked me up to go to the game, and I just put those two words together, Fourplex and Superior Propane Center, and came out with Propane Plex. And Jeremy's, that's now
I'm on board
name.
with it.
Yeah, we're on board with it.
Legal name change. Bring it to the lawyer.
Your thoughts on the game from Friday? It was pretty tough to gauge when you're playing against a Cameron McDonald, a Peter Reynolds, especially down. Nothing better than seeing those guys roll out down 7-2, a couple minutes left, getting those power play minutes in a rookie game. But I think the guys that earned the spot to get to main camp deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, I mean, as part of that first round of cuts, I was probably most surprised to see Dawson Rowe part of that group. I was, looking forward to seeing him around camp for much longer.
Yeah. He had
a rough night.
Rough game on Friday.
But he can't be faulted. On a few goals, it was just terrible defense, terrible D, and but apparently the scouts and Richie and everybody else saw something else that we didn't. So they sent Dawson Rowe packing in the first.
I wonder how much of it was Dawson Rowe and how much was Couture, who's still here, right?
Yeah, well, that's another thing, right? Couture's been very impressive, and he continues to be very impressive. So, there's. I'm not going to take much away from that game. I will say that I was a bit surprised to see Rowe part of the first group of cuts. Other than that, there was no surprises. There's still players around that I think are more surprising. I think of a player like Luke Santilli, American. He's not going to play any exhibition games because he then loses his NCAA eligibility. But just haven't seen much from him to warrant being still in camp. But it makes me wonder if he's still here because he was kind of a late ad, and they're just kind of letting they want to see what he can get. I mean, I don't know what the rules are with that. Most Americans leave after 48 hours unless they're guaranteed a spot. So he's paying his own way right now. I don't think he's. So that's interesting story to follow. But I expect him to be a part of the next group of cuts.
The red white game there Saturday, he didn't. That was a game. You saw the rookies that were going to get that were coming up. Mercier, Baerjean. I'm trying to think of some other ones that were Moran off the top of my head. Who was the other one there? That was Dolomont. It was the first time I got to see him play. Saracen, Baccaro. He's an interesting cat. He's a feisty one, I'll tell you that much. But I only saw the one game on Saturday. Or Sunday. I thought Santilli played well. That was a game that the rookies that stepped in that earned the spot moving up. When the veterans come in, the game generally gets faster, and it still was a lot of what do you call it when there's a lot of turnovers up the middle? What do you always tweet out?
Oh, something about cooking up a fresh batch of turnovers.
Yeah, and you can tell because in the red and white games, there's no real structure to come out of your zone, so they're just trying to get pucks out of the zone. So a lot of turnovers up the middle, but I thought Santilli played pretty well. The one guy that, I guess we kind of talked about on the way home after the game on Friday that we hadn't seen, and he was the first part prior to the cuts because he was the, 04, 05, was Bryson Curry.
Yeah.
We didn't, because practices were closed, we didn't get to see the guy at all. I don't even think he played a red-white game. So I think for me that's the surprising one as well. Tyler Guy. He was dealt for LeBlanc,
yeah.
and you kind of think, a guy that's traded for a guy that played minutes last year, he might not be in that first set, maybe in the second set. So for me, Bryson Curry, because we had talked about in the draft, he was the 05 that they took, or the 04. So to not even see him play really at all was a little bit surprising for me. But I think every guy that's been here and continues to play here and is playing tonight, as they are up by quite a bit. Spoiler alert if you've already watched the game. Every guy that's been here has been exactly what they are, and the goaltending battle is interesting.
It's heating up.
Yeah,
heating up.
And I think Thomas Couture has made his. I think his games. I went back and looked. 14 saves, 15 shots, 1 goal. I think he earned that second half earned him the extra spot at camp, and now they can just roll out 4 goalies instead of trying to have a weird mix of 5.
Right. And he actually hasn't allowed many goals this entire training camp. So he's been a pleasant surprise. He's no stranger to the queue. I think he was drafted by Rimouski, played for I think it was Levy's goaltender when they had that magical year where they won almost every game and then lost in the first round of the playoffs when Joshua Waugh was the stud.
Yeah.
I mean he's got his taste in the queue now, and he's making his mark. So a goalie like Sheehan, it's don't get too comfortable back there.
No.
And same goes for Damati. You got to keep battling to earn your spot, because it's that backup spot's up for grabs, and it could be any one of those 3 guys.
And that's I've said it from day one. I was excited to see this battle of who was going to back up for Filion, because he's the guy, and this isn't even over. Like you're gonna see the veteran guys get cut as we get closer to the season, and is Moncton going to go with 2 16, 17-year-old goaltenders, 2 very young goaltenders in a season of rebuilding, right?
I don't think. I mean, this Filion's net. It's his net.
Yep.
At this point, I don't think I think that the team has full trust in him, that they don't need to go out and get a veteran goaltender as a backup. There's no reason for that. At this point, it's just wasted assets. Like Filion should be getting, 50-60% of the starts at least.
I thought you were going to say 50 out of 68 games.
No.
I was like,
he should be getting.
That's impressive.
He should be getting at least 55-60% of the starts.
Yeah.
It is his draft year, so he's going to want to play, and he's going to prove that why he was a big piece of that trade.
He should be getting the games the backup should be getting are the back-to-back nights and the 3 and 4 nights. Like it's his net, and he's fully earned it. Vets being back, the 20-year-old battle is a bit of an interesting one. You've got Daou, DeGrossier, Bernier, and Stewart, and we're gonna get into our roster here in a little bit when we finish our chat with our view from the other bench coming up in a little bit. But it just is how do I want to word this? What type of player are you looking for? Daou and DeGrossier, those 2 are locked in as 2 of your 20-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for a Jake Stewart who, nothing against him, is bottom 6 forward, very good on faceoffs, earned it last year with faceoffs, penalty kill guy, can win you the big draw if he needs to and get rid off the ice? Or are you looking for, a little bit more skill and speed in a Gabriel Bernier, who is a winger? Because down the middle, as much as veteran defensemen and all that, down the middle is one of the most important spots. And you've got Daou as your number 1. You've got LaBelle or Tybal, either way on that one. Casey, Stewart. It's kind of a pick your poison. It's going to be very interesting to see which way they go with those two players, because I don't see them keeping 4 again.
No, 100% not. I don't think you can look past Jake Stewart's leadership. I think that's the thing that's going to keep him on this team.
Well said.
Look, I've been pretty vocal about Jake Stewart for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
At least 2 years.
Yeah.
But it has come to the point where I think you need him on this team. I don't care if he's playing. I don't care if we have a 20-year-old Jake Stewart on the fourth line. It sounds ridiculous, but it makes sense because on the fourth line is where these young guys are going to play, and there's no better person for these young guys to play with than Jake Stewart.
Yeah.
The young guys are going to be able to score. They're fast and they're skilled. It doesn't add up to Jake Stewart's hockey playing style.
Yeah.
But they're going to learn a lot from him just by being on a line with him. So I got to go with Daoud, DeGrossier, and Stewart as my 320s. You just, if Bernie's on the team, he's a top 6 guy, and there's no room for him on the top 6.
Yeah.
As funny as that sounds, there's no room for him on the top 6.
And we'll tell you why here in a little bit. But you're bang on, and Jake Stewart will be to a young guy what Hudson was to Lingwall, right? Like just on his mentorship,
yep,
showing him the ropes, and not only just the guys on his line. There's a lot of young guys on here, and you need that veteran presence to show these guys how to be. That Richie talks about it everywhere. Alex Coche talked about it. Anyone talks about the Wildcat way. You need to have these veterans in here to show these guys how to be players night in and night out, because, even though they played 20, 30-some games and made the playoffs, it's still a different animal when you're going to play a 68-game grind season. You're not going to get a 2-month break in between where you're just going to get to rest up your body and feel good going in the dog days of winter into January and February. So we've talked about it week after week. It is an interesting battle, and it'll be I don't envy Richie. We always want that cool job, but man, this is the time when it's not an easy job to, well, hey man, Dan Lacroix, but as well as the coaching staff, but it's not an easy job. We're going to preview some of the games. We're going to preview the one tonight as we were recording, and right now it's not very good if you're a Bathurst fan right now in an early preseason game.
No, that isn't that. The Wildcats are putting the nuts. Sorry. Sorry. Putting the boots to them. Yeah, sorry about that rated R moment there. It's currently 6-0 for the Wildcats after the second period. Dominating the game, 32-16 in the shots. Big ups to Preston Lounsbury, who is 10 for 13 in the face-off dot right now. So that is
Jake Stewart leadership, teaching him how to take face-offs there.
That is nice to see from a 16-year-old. But yeah, this, you look through it, Byers 2 assists plus 2. Mueller a goal plus 1. DeRosier a goal and plus 3. Where's that coming from? Auger a goal and an assist plus 2.
Picaro fighting.
So yeah, young guys are looking good. No complaints so far in this game. Hopefully we see some more of the same demain soir ou ce soir whenever you decide to listen. And
Thomas Couture, 13 for 13.
Yeah, that's right.
Ends the game. Again, just doesn't let goals in. And he's played 2 games. He's my math isn't really correct, so I won't go save percentages in the 2 games. But he's only allowed 1 goal in his 2 half starts that he's had. So, Gio's got some work to do in the second half of this game. I think it's just after the second period intermission as we get going. So now, will this roster be the same tomorrow? Unlikely. I think we'll see a few more of the veterans at home. I don't think you'll see the Daous and the who else? DeGrossier. I think you'll see a few more guys like Pavin, Barbashev, a couple second-year guys. I don't think you'll see the 18, 19-year-olds because playing at home, playing in front of fans, you're going to show off the guys that, you know.
Yeah, I think it'll be a mix. We got, but at the same time, you know, when you want your young guys to play, especially the ones from Quebec who, you know, they haven't been in much action. You know, you Thursday and Friday night. I don't think Mercier played Thursday, but Morin has played Thursday. He played Friday. He played both scrimmages, and he's playing tonight and probably going to play tomorrow.
Yep.
Because this is a guy who, you know, I wouldn't be surprised under the table if he's already signed. So they're going to get him into as much hockey. Mercier, maybe a different story. There's rumblings that he's playing hurt. We don't want to disclose the injury, but there's rumblings that he's playing hurt. But the fact that he's still playing the way he is, warrior,
speaks to his character.
Yeah,
he wants to be on the team,
putting up points. He's still fast out there, and he looks good. So if it's true that he's playing hurt, then wow, you know, that's super impressive. But I think that's the mindset, right? Get these young guys into as much action as possible. Yeah. You know, like it's because they didn't play last year. Ogier didn't play last year. Byerson didn't play last year. Morin didn't play last year. Mercier didn't play last year. You know, these are guys, they're going to want to get these kids playing to get them back into the groove of things.
I wonder what the two goalies will be like. I wonder if Sheehan will get one of these. I wonder if he'll play tomorrow, or because they got these two and they got two more, I believe, before the Labor Day break, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we'll see Filion before they come back. I feel like he's a goaltender that we see after they come back from the holiday there, last 4 games, and when the season starts to kind of get cranked out, you're going to use him a lot. You don't need him. He's got really nothing to prove in these games.
Nope.
Practice, give him the month off, and I think we'll see him once the rosters kind of take shape in the Maritime Division as we're playing these teams in the preseason. So, yeah, get down to the Uniplex. It's tomorrow at 7 o'clock in Dieppe. I'm excited to go. Will you be there tonight? I guess tonight. Sorry,
I'll probably be on daughter duty.
So that's a yes.
Yeah. I doubt I'll.
Let's go, Avery. We're going to a hockey game.
Yeah, I doubt I'll be there. She's way off on the old sleeping schedule right now. So, with school starting in a couple of weeks, we need to get her back to bed at a decent time so that she's not falling asleep in grade 1 French immersion.
All right, well, since we're talking about other Maritime teams, we might as well get right to it. We're going to bring back View from the Other Bench. So let's have a chat with a good old friend that we haven't seen or talked to in quite a while.
View from the Other Bench.
All right, we're back for another year of View from the Other Bench, and we're doing the preseason previews again in the Maritime Division. We're going to get started with the team, that we haven't seen since last year's preseason. So talk about two completely different teams. We're going to take a look at the Cape Breton Eagles, who went 12, 25, and 1 for 25 points, which tying them with Moncton, but they chose not to play in the playoffs. So, but we are going to talk to voice of the Eagles, friend of the show, Mr. Pat McNeil. How are you doing tonight? Have you picked up your jaw off the floor from this past weekend in the wrestling world?
I think I'm up to 3 or 4 watches of the CM Punk intro, and I'll just tell a quick story before we talk about hockey. A buddy of mine has a 4-year-old son, and he watches YouTube videos with him every Saturday morning. Yep. And the kid was like screaming to watch YouTube, and he's like, no, Daddy's got to watch this little thing. He's only planning on watching Punk. And then as soon as Punk came out and the people started going nuts, his son didn't care about YouTube anymore and was totally captivated. So CM Punk's return is such a big deal. It's captivating people who were 3 years from being alive the last time he wrestled. So, yeah, very exciting. And, of course, the questionable booking of Becky Lynch, the knockout drag affair between Dragunov and Walter. Lots to talk about, but this is a hockey podcast. Perhaps unfortunately, but I could talk wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the key season coming up.
I guess my only last question on the wrestling, the Saturday SummerSlam, is that going to be new for WWE instead of Sundays? Because I was taken aback that it was a Saturday, or was that is that a new thing now? Because I know WrestleMania went to the 2 nights, but are they just trying to do the Saturday stuff?
Okay, so two things on Saturday. All the wrestling that was going on. On top of all that, I was at a wrestling show here in New Waterford on Saturday. I was ringing the bell, and there was a great Celtic Roots championship match between Dick Durning and the champion Charlie Hubley. That match will be on Facebook, and I definitely recommend looking that up. So that was great. And as for the Saturday SummerSlam, my understanding is that Nick Khan was like one of the higher ups there in WWE, not to be confused with Tony Khan, no relation.
Oh, okay.
He was saying that Las Vegas is traditionally a Saturday town when it comes to events. So that was why it was Saturday. Other than that, I would expect they keep their pay-per-view Sunday. But with Money in the Bank going to Allegiant next year, that could be on a Saturday. But I don't think this is a permanent change for WWE.
All right. Well, we might as well talk some hockey since we got you for a while.
I suppose since we're here, yeah.
Kind of our gig.
I haven't watched wrestling in a while, so I'll focus on the hockey. One thing I've mentioned, Pat, on the show a few times is I know you kind of have to, play your cards, when you answer this question. But when you talk to Cape Breton Eagles fans, what are their overall feelings on the return on the second overall pick?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the jury is still out. I think the initial reaction was some disappointment, but I think the big thing to factor in there is that this draft was not a normal draft. And obviously, too, the one thing to note there is people who are upset are always going to be louder than the people that aren't. That's not to say that that's not a valid opinion to have out of the box. The other thing, too, is you're coming off a season where we didn't see the Quebec teams play, so we don't know anything about Connor Shortle. And also, too, training camp is limited, so fans haven't really got to see Emile Perron, who the Eagles picked 8th overall. And I think had they seen him, that might increase the perception of the trade because he's been, very good. And no disrespect to Tyler Peddle, who's also been very good in the early going of Drummondville's camp. Mm-hmm. But you're right to starting with that question because that is going to be the topic of this season. But it's also one of those things where it could be a few years before we really know the return. We don't know how good Perron is going to be, how good Shortle will be, Cape Breton, how good Peddle will be. But it's going to be an interesting thing to watch for sure. But there is some skepticism early on, but I think those who've seen Perron are impressed with him, and obviously how he plays is going to be a big part in how that trade's evaluated. And so far, so good on that end, and really, I guess, for both teams.
Just following up on the whole draft, obviously you got the Emile Perron pick, 15 years old, I guess 16 now, but looks like he's 30. But
true, he's a very mature-looking guy.
He very well is. But yeah, just overall impressions on him so far, and along with, I guess we'll go with Cam Squires and Moncton kid Luke Patterson.
Yeah, first, giving you a little note on Perron you might find interesting. A couple things. His dad was actually drafted by the 1997 Screaming Eagles, and he elected not to come to camp because at that time, there was a lot more uncertainty about coming to the Maritimes if you're from Quebec, and he wasn't a high-end prospect. And another interesting fact is Emile Perron at the time is being billeted by Nathan McNeil, and if you know that last name, it's because his brother Nick, former Eagle star, and now Moncton Wildcats assistant coach. So a little tie-in there for you. So Perron has been, as I said, very good. I like what we've seen of Squires. Obviously, camp's kind of just getting going as we record this. Yeah. The way the Eagles set it up, you had the 3 black and white games with just rookies, and then the veterans got pumped in, and the veterans really elevated the level of play. No question about that. But I like what I've seen from Squires so far. Xavier Dague was the team's second-round pick, and he's a very flashy defenseman. You might have to try to rein that in a little bit. That might be a situation where he gets sent back to work on that. And I don't know what you guys have seen from the captain camp so far, but I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how teams handle their Quebec prospects, where a guy like Dague and Perron, of course, too, they didn't get to play in major midget hockey or U18 hockey last year, so perhaps teams will be more willing to send highly drafted players back, and that's not a knock on their skill sets. It's just the reality of what we've seen. But the other thing, too, I know this is not the question you're asking, but I know with the Eagles, because of the camp limitations last year, we're getting our first look at some of the 2020 draft picks, and some of them have been impressive. Nicholas Hogue has had a touch for the net for sure, and Kiefer Lyons, I think, was probably the biggest story in training camp thus far. And, of course, if you're a big hockey fan in New Brunswick, you probably know that name because he led the NBPEI League in scoring last year, and he certainly looked good. So there's going to be a lot of competition for spots.
Do you think there's going to be, as the season goes on, if Perron is, with the Eagles for most of the year, do you think pressure will be on this kid unfairly, obviously, but because he was the player picked, and it probably wouldn't matter what player they picked if Petal continues to have the success, because I mean, Jeremy and I talked about it. There probably weren't a lot of teams looking to get up to the Eagles pick, and if you're not sure if Petal's gonna to report and play, you got to try and move it for what you can. But do you feel that Perron will have this unfair pressure, or are people barely like you said, just kind of waiting and seeing what he's going to be like?
I think there'll be pressure, certainly, for those that were critical of the deal at the beginning. And, not everybody that goes to the game every night is, that in tune with the product, although certainly a lot are, for sure. So, and of course, there's other elements to the deal as well. You're getting extra picks, and you're getting Shortle as well on the back end, so that is another factor as well. So I think there is some pressure, but we were joking about how, he looks like he's 30 years old, but he also has a very good head on his shoulders, so I don't think that's going to faze him too much. And I think, too, what people should remember, and I think this is kind of being misconstrued in some cases, Petal said no to Cape Breton and said yes to Drummondville. And that's not the case, as we know. He was very open about his indecisiveness, and yet Drummondville ends up being able to get him to report. Maybe that would happen in Cape Breton. We'll never know. So, yeah, I think there'll be some additional pressure on Perron, but I think it'll be narrow to the point that he'll be able to handle it. And again, we're obviously, basing this off very limited of what we've seen of him so far. But like I said, he seems to have a very good head on his shoulders. It seems mature both on and off the ice. So look forward to seeing him develop for sure.
I feel like if you're a smart hockey fan, you're not going to compare those numbers to those players during their Q careers. It is what it is. In goal, I like to talk goaltenders all the time, and we had you on last year a couple times with just after the draft talking about Ruccia, and he split games with Gamard basically even last year against Charlottetown and Halifax, basically because he got tired of seeing the same teams. First round pick, second goalie taken. Obviously, Filion was the first. Is this his net on a rebuilding team, or is this another? The cage is up for grabs with the guy they acquired in Delafonte from Chicoutimi, who just kind of was in a situation where he wasn't going to probably play a whole lot behind Shank.
I feel like Delafontaine could push Ruccia for starts, and that's not a slight against Ruccia, but Delafontaine has looked really good in camp. There was also a lot of disparity between different rankings, so I know coming into the Q draft, there were some teams that would have had Delafontaine ahead of Ruccia. And it's one of those situations where the Eagles knew they were trading Felix Lafrance to Chicoutimi, and it was, you try to get the best assets you can get. And given the fact the Eagles are confident that Ruccia is going to be a very good goaltender down the road, maybe it's not ideal to get a goaltender, but if that goaltender is heads above any other prospect that Chicoutimi's offering you, you take him. And we'll see what ends up happening. It's kind of similar to the dynamic we saw a few years ago in Cape Breton with Kevin Mandalise and Kyle Jesseman. Jesseman was a second rounder, just like Delafontaine is. Mandalise first rounder, but the difference in this case is the two players are the same age. And unfortunately, Delafontaine last year didn't get to have his starts, so that's a bit unfortunate. But it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the camp battles are still going on. The Eagles drafted Thomas Pigeon in the 11th round. He's actually an 04. He's not an 05. So he's in his first training camp at Frederick Plord, who played Junior A last year. And Truro, he played one period on Good Friday last year. He's in the mix as well. But certainly, Ruccia and Delafontaine are in the driver's seat there, and it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it wouldn't be an adjustment for Ruccia if Delafontaine takes some starts away from him because he was the backup last season. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. It's always fun, I think, when you have two goaltenders the same age. And I think it'll be the job for Ruccia to lose, but I also know that the Eagles will want to get Delafontaine some big starts if he is the guy that ends up winning the second goaltender spot, which obviously is the favorite to do so. So I think there's definitely still some questions to be answered in Cape Breton regarding goaltending. And as I said, that's not a knock against Ruccia. I think he's going to be great, but there could be two great goalies, and it'll be fun to watch for sure. And goaltending, traditionally, if you go back to the early days of the Eagles, was always a strength that I think. Regardless of whether one or both take the ball, fans in Cape Breton look forward to that in the future.
What's your outlook on the season there, Pat? Like, who do you got on your radar as forward wise that will take the biggest step forward? And I guess same would go on the back end.
Well, I think up front, not ready to be a star yet, but I think there's long-term hopes for Lucas Manning to be a power forward in this league. He had 2 goals last year. You can't read too much into that. It's tough for 16-year-olds to play in the queue, as you know. It'll be interesting to see what Dawson Stairs does as a true veteran, as a 19-year-old. Connor Trenholm, I think, is the guy that people are going to be really watching. if you know his story, he missed a number of years in his minor hockey career due to a suspected heart condition. So just getting to play his third year of junior in a row, he's going to have that experience going to Florida rookie camp. That'll be good. So those are two names to watch for up front. And on the side note about Trenholm, he is only 18, and yet he is the most experienced player in terms of games played with the Eagles. And also tying into that there are no screaming Eagles left in Cape Breton. There are some around the queue. You have Ryan Francis and St. John, Felix LaFrance, and Scrutiny, and Alex Drover and Ramuski. I know there's a couple others I'm forgetting, but none of them are in Cape Breton, so that's kind of an interesting fact. And on that topic, not to get too sidetracked here, but we're slowly starting to lose the players in the queue that used to play in the Moncton Coliseum. Not too many of those left around the queue these days either. No. But when you look on the back end, big year, I think, for FJ Buteau. He was a fifth-round pick in 2020. The Eagles drafted 3 players in 2020 in the 5th round, and Buteau was the only one that was invited to camp. And he ended up making the team at a camp and had a good rookie season and ended up getting thrust in top 4 responsibilities quite a bit because of the frequent injuries to LaRose and Baker on the back end. So I think he's going to have another year to grow into his shoes. And the big one on the back end is Jeremy Lingwall, because his birthday is just past the cutoff for the NHL draft. So he'll be in his 18-year-old season in his NHL draft year, and, he was really starting to come into his own. I remember a game he played at Halifax just before he got injured where he had 3 points, was the first star, and you were just really starting to see why the Eagles picked this guy in the first round. So he's going to be a guy to watch as well. He should be a lot of fun to watch, and I think people are going to really around the league discover how good he is this season.
One of the things Jeremy and I chatted about last week was the leadership group here in Moncton, and, who would wear the C if there was going to be a C. The Eagles with, trading Sean Element last year, losing Jarrett Baker, obviously to age. The players you talked about, Trenholm, Stairs, is this a team that, even La Rochelle that came from Victoriaville, is this a team that has a captain and some assistants, or is this a young team that wears the A's and just kind of see who stands out?
I feel like it could be a leadership by committee situation, because it's going to boil down to whether the team wants to put its leadership in the homegrown players, like Trenholm and Lingwall would be your 2 examples, to a lesser extent Stairs, because he was there in the second half of last season, or La Rochelle just won the President's Cup with Victoriaville, and Nicholas Girard comes in as a very capable 20-year-old forward. You also have Neil Hagerty-O'Bannon, who was here last year as a 19. So it's going to be interesting to see. Traditionally, the Eagles, at least in the Jake Grimes era, have tended to lean towards the guys that have been with the team, but guy like La Rochelle, defenseman on a President's Cup championship team, it's kind of hard to knock that pedigree. So it'll be tough to perhaps narrow down guys to who you want to give the letters to. And the old cliche goes, it's true, is you don't need a letter to be a leader. Yeah. And the Eagles have shown a history of being a bit liberal with handing out letters. If you look at the second half of the 2019-2020 season, I think it was 7 different players had letters, because you had your captain and then you had 3 different alternates at home and away. So that was, mind you, that was a veteran-laden team, but they're not afraid to do unorthodox things like that. So who knows what kind of leadership structure we'll see in Cape Breton. We'll be guessing until captains are named.
We're good. We're finally going to see, I guess, another sense of normalcy with a regular season. Are you just how excited are you to get back into some of those Quebec rinks?
Oh, absolutely. Super excited. Excited to see players in Quebec. And, throughout the last few years, obviously, I've made a lot of friends on the media side in Quebec, and I missed seeing those people last year. We didn't get to go to Moncton last year, so I look forward to seeing you guys and everyone else in Moncton again. And obviously, there's other things. Like, I'm really excited to see the new rink in Gatineau, the Slush Puppy Center. It looks beautiful in the photos. I know it is a ridiculous-sounding name, but I do look forward to seeing it. It is a big upgrade on the Robert Gartin Arena for sure. Yeah. I think from a star power point of view, it does seem like the balance of power has maybe tilted back to the Maritimes this year. You kind of look at St. John and Charlottetown, look likely to butt heads, and Bathurst is right there as well. And that's not as an affront to any of the other teams in the division, but a lot of big name players on those teams. But it's still nice to see teams in the rest of the league, especially looking to back. They want to host the Memorial Cup, so they're going to have a really good team. So look forward to seeing all those players, buildings, and staff and atmospheres and all that we missed out on seeing last year. And I should also note that I'm very excited for our Quebec-born players to get a chance to play in those rinks. I know since I've taken over for the Eagles, one of the games I look forward to every year, and the roster, I haven't broken down the construction, and we don't know what it is yet, but the game we play in Blainville has always been special because there's always had a lot of Montreal area players. There's always a lot of Eagles fans at those games. So I look forward to seeing all that stuff that we missed last season.
Never thought you'd miss the bus, eh?
Well, you talked to me after that first long road trip. I mean, it might have a different opinion. But ideally, fingers crossed, we won't be wearing masks on the bus all season. I don't know if that's the verdict that has come down on that yet, but that was certainly something different last year, and fully support all the safe regulations and whatnot. But hopefully there comes a time, hopefully soon, that it's safe to take the masks off to start the season. But we'll see. That's out of our hands.
Well, we know that you're a very busy guy, so we'll let you get on with camp. And I know there's an Eagles game as we're recording this, so we'll let you get back to that game. We did notice, however, you did not say you were excited to see Jeremy and I in Moncton this year, as you were talking about
I did say
this.
that. I did mention that.
Yeah, I remember saying
say that?
so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually kind of excited, Pat, because I know just before we kind of went into that lockdown phase, there was I think a back-to-back where you guys were going to be in Moncton, and we were going to go out that night for a big bender, and we missed out on that opportunity. So I'm hoping we can maybe catch up on something like that again later.
I'm not going to confirm or deny any details, potential shenanigans, but I will say I was disappointed to not get to games in Moncton. It's weird, too, because I've often made the point to go to Moncton in the off-season just to see friends, and it just, even with the Atlantic bubble opening, it just didn't happen either of the last 2 years. So when we get to Moncton, it's going to feel a bit unseen territory, but it is kind of interesting. I think it's St. John and Charlottetown that are playing each other in opening weekend, and they have the luck of the draw because are you guys opening against Bathurst? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, we were opening against Bathurst October 1st,
Yeah.
and Bathurst 2nd in Moncton.
It's just where the schedule was last year, where it was split into the 902 half and the 506 half. It was, you kind of hoped that all the Nova Scotia teams in Charlottetown will play New Brunswick teams to start. I actually ended up running into Alex Ryan during one of my trips to Halifax, the equipment manager, who said that we were both groaning about the fact that we were going to be playing each other opening weekend. It's like, yeah, I know it's a long time, but we've already seen. He's like, no offense, Pat, but I'm sick of seeing you. I said, hey, no offense to you, but the feeling's mutual. So it would have been nice to start off with the New Brunswick teams, but it's nice to know that we'll get there in time.
Absolutely. We're just excited to see other teams than the three we saw most of the season. But, man, we really appreciate having you on. It was good to talk to you again. It was way too long. So thanks for joining us, and can't wait to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. And like you said, it feels like forever since we've done one of these, which is a bad sign, so it's a good sign that we're back on track. I look forward to some good hockey in the Maritimes this year.
100%, Pat. You have a good night.
All right, take care, guys.
It's always good to have a friend of the show, Pat McNeil, on. It does seem crazy that I think we had him on last preseason, a year since we haven't seen the team and chatted with him. We didn't even talk to him during the season at all.
No, we didn't. And we haven't seen Cape Breton
since preseason.
So it's been a year.
Talk about a tale of two teams that are kind of similar, but from the time they played, completely different. Interesting thoughts on the pedal deal. I know that it would be different, the fan view, if we could get some fan views on here. But
I've shared my view. Yeah,
you shared your view. We both shared our view, but it was interesting to get his view, and he's 100% right. We don't actually know the full details of the trade because there's more coming. I think they got a first next year too, or is it a second?
I can't remember it off the top of my head. I just remember it being a absolutely awful trade, and their GM still has a job. Like if I was that bad at my job, I'd be fired. So I'll just keep peppering it on probably every episode of this podcast until
Jeremy Boucher making friends in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
They have a second next year.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. They'll I keep talking like this. They'll turn me away at the Canso Causeway.
Actually, yeah, they got a second next year. So
terrible deal. Like God, it's so bad.
Oh yeah, but now they're a team kind of like Moncton.
Jacques Cartier.
It's like we both
GM,
shared.
I hope the GM is not your Cartier. It's career in French.
Yeah, I figured. But no, it's always good to have Pat, and hopefully we'll have him on, and maybe we'll get one of those live interviews, get him in the studio on one of those back-to-back nights. But we'll have to see. Make sure he's got the time to visit us in studio. But we got a little bit of a contest. We love contests. You love contests. We like giving away stuff. So let's get into the contest. We got Boucher. Because you're drinking water. Sorry, buddy.
Chewing some of my
I didn't
watermelon
even look
here.
over. Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
All right, try this again. Let's get into the contest, Boucher.
So what we're doing is October 1st is the season opener up in Bathurst on the North Shore. Everybody knows there's no shore like the North Shore, and that's for sure. So what we want you to do, and please listen to these instructions, because I don't think I made them clear enough last time we had a contest because people were giving us ridiculous numbers. So what you need to tell us is the 18 skaters and the 2 goalies who will be in the Wildcats lineup on opening night, October 1st in Bathurst. Now, we say 18 skaters because, 12 forwards, 6 defensemen. They could do 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. So you need to tell us the 18 skaters. You don't need to put them in the lines or anything like that. Just tell us who the skaters will be.
No bonus points for lines.
No. So the 18 skaters and the 2 goalies who will be in the Wildcats lineup on opening night in Bathurst, October 1st. The winner, I guess, the person who comes closest to all 18 skaters and 2 defensemen will win a $50 Visa gift card.
Yep.
Which has not been donated.
Do they have to get the goalies too?
The goalies.
18 skaters, 2 goalies.
18 skaters, 2 goalies. The person who has the most correct answers will win that $50 gift card from Visa, which, of course, was not donated. This is Adam and I contributing our own hard-earned money from
our jobs
that we like to go to 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So this is us doing something for you. In return, you do something for us. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. I almost said nuts. Thank you. That's the contest.
Oh, you're a treat tonight.
So
once again,
for those who are not paying attention, 18 skaters, 2 defensemen,
2 goalies.
Right. 18 skaters. Yeah. 18 skaters and 2 goalies in the Wildcats lineup October 1st up in Bathurst. Send it to us on the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, TikTok. Don't even do messages. So, anyways,
monctonwildcast@gmail.com. Email it, DM it. I don't care how you get it. Get it by next Tuesday, August 31st by 7 p.m. And we'll keep those, and we'll see who gets the most right and wins a $50 gift card. We didn't get anything donated, but we just felt like this is a good contest. You can buy tickets to a game. You can get merch to the Roar Store. Maybe you can get a Wildcast podcast hat. I don't know.
You can buy Adam a beer. Yeah. Adam and I a beer at the home opener.
Maybe. Yeah.
On the Friday night.
Exactly. Maybe. Who knows what you're going to spend the money on? Take your lady out for a date. I don't know. But
or man.
You got your roster up there? You want to have a little
I
roster
do.
chat?
Yeah. So we'll give you ours.
Yeah.
If you want to copy ours, then you are welcome to do so.
You want to go from the net out?
We are not experts. We don't suggest you take our advice.
No.
Only if, when we say, go get your goddamn vaccine, you go get your goddamn vaccine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll start from the net out.
Richie and Dan LaQual probably aren't open to this contest, eh?
If they want to send us their guesses, then we expect from them more in return because that is cheating.
Yes, so, exactly. All right.
I'll let you start, Adam, because
All
I'm pretty sure we've got the starting goaltender correct.
Number 31.
If you don't have this player on your roster, please click unsubscribe.
No. We don't want people to unfollow us.
Start listening to Sur la route Junior in Bathurst. So I think we can agree on Vincent Filion as a goaltender.
Yep,
okay.
That's the easiest one to decide. And then, I've been bullish on this guy for 2 years now. The backup goaltender for me is Gio Demetria.
Okay. So we have our first disagreement.
All right.
I am going with Thomas Couture. as
we
my
need to make
backup
that.
goal.
We need to make that into a GIF.
Thomas Couture as my backup goaltender.
All right.
Sorry, Nick Sheehan. I understand our buddy Sean Hatcher just did a story about you and, it being your dream of playing for the Wildcats. This is nothing against you. We just like to argue. So
That's exactly it.
You could very well be the backup, but Adam and I just can't have the same answers.
No.
So we like to have disagreement.
And if nothing else, we are pushing you to prove us wrong. All right, defenseman. I've got so. Spoiler alert! Remember that time I was all like, "These are my 6 defensemen," and I
Is
got
that when you said Pilat was
as
your
my
7th defenseman?
Yeah, no, whoops. That was nothing slight against him. It was not the fact that he was the 7th defenseman. It was the fact that as I was going through the roster and got down to the P's, I was like, "Oh yeah, Pilat." So I just kind of put him in there. Pilat and DeGrossier are my 1-2 pair. I've got Olsen and Hamel. I got Darcy and Moran, and I got Iasenza as my 7th defenseman.
Okay. So I have Pilat and I have De Grossier as my first 2. I have Olsen with Darcy. I have Iasenza with Hamel.
Oh, okay.
And then I have Morin and Ethan Dolmont.
Oh, okay. You got him.
I
That's the
have him on
extras.
my roster. He's like an 8th guy.
Yeah.
But here's my big prediction. I think this is Jeremy's mind again. Remember, sometimes it wanders off.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes it goes in the gutter. I think my feeling tells me that they will trade either Connor Olsen or Anthony Hamel in order to ensure Etienne Morin is playing top 6.
All right.
That's just my gut. I'd have no inside information. If I did, I would say it on the podcast. But I'm just thinking, if you want Morin to stay, you want him playing in your top 6. You don't want him in the stands. So you find a spot for him to play. This is the only way I see it happening, is by trading either Connor Olsen or Anthony Hamel.
So you got him right in your top 4 from
Yes.
the get-go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had him in the bottom pair, and we can debate the actual matchups of the defensemen there. But I do feel Olsen will be situated if he's playing, not on the top. He got exposed last year playing with the Young once Stewart and Spence were traded. Nothing against him. He just and another year he might not be. But I think Moran, if you can shelter him and let him play the bottom minutes at least in the first half for a little bit, I think Are you saying like your gut telling you trading sooner rather than later, or
Yes.
Okay, so
Before the start of the season.
Okay.
I think it's allowed. I don't know if there's another
I feel like
trade
it's
period.
allowed because Bathurst made a trade earlier today.
Did they?
Well, this week they made a trade with Chicoutimi for I don't know who it was for.
Oh,
but,
yes.
But they made a trade, so it might be. But okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's what my gut's telling me, because I think
Okay.
they're going to want Miranda to play every night, and that's the only way I think it's going to happen.
perfect. All right, we'll go the forwards.
I'll kick things
all
off.
right.
Top line: Loshing, Dao, and Barbashev.
Ding, ding, ding! I got the same top line.
All
That should be the
right, all
second easiest 3 players
Yes.
on this thing.
Want to go with your second line?
I've got Ring the Tybell,
Okay.
Jonas Tybell on the wing, LaBelle,
Okay.
and then Blagden.
You have
on the
Blagden in your top 6.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He's a veteran guy. He brings the muscle, as they say, and LaBelle had the injuries last year, and Tybell, you don't know what he's going to be like in this league yet. So I think you just put a veteran with those two, kind of showing Tybell the ropes and a little bit of a protector.
Okay. Because I have LaBelle, Tybell, and Lingwall
Okay.
on my right side.
All right.
I think Lingwall's progression
Yep.
that he's made since coming into the league at 17
Yep.
is he seems to jump up a line every season. I think this is his time to move into that top 6 role on the right side. Playing with Tybell and LaBelle. Tybell and LaBelle and Langlois. This period brought to you by our friends at the the law house of LaBelle, Tybell, and Lingwall.
It kind of works. All right, so what do you got for your third line?
Third line, I have Nicholas Paven.
Yep.
Is it Nathan Casey? Is that Nathan's the first name?
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan Casey. I never get his first. I just call him Casey.
Yeah, exactly. That is very true.
And Alexi Danielle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the third line.
Dang it.
What
There's
is
always a player I continually forget.
It is Alexi Danielle?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
All right. I've got Paven, Stewart, and Lingwall. And the reason I got them there is that's your energy shutdown line. Paven speed, Lingwall speed, Stewart doing the heavy lifting, the face-offs there. That's your kind of energy type line there.
Okay.
And then my fourth line, and that I now have to get rid of this player and insert that player because I completely forgot.
I'll go with my fourth line while you're working on your.
Yeah, right.
So my fourth line, on the left side, Miles Mueller.
Yes, I've got Miles Mueller there.
My center is Jake Stewart. And on my right side, I keep bragging about this kid because you think he's going to be a star. Thomas Hoje.
That was close. That was better. I like the Couture one better.
Thomas Couture.
I've got Mueller, Casey, and I guess now Danielle. Whoops.
Okay. And what do you got
for
extra forwards?
Connor Richard and Mercier.
Okay, so you have Mercier on the roster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Mathis Coutier.
Okay.
And Nicholas Blagden, who is injured and probably will not be ready to start the season. So when you're doing your rosters, remember, Jeremy said it. You can trust me or you can't. It is now 8-0 for the Wildcats.
What?
Nicholas Blagden is still recovering from surgery, and he will not be ready to start the season. That's what I think. That's
Okay.
my sources are saying.
So we got a lot of the same.
So I don't have Connor Richard.
No.
I think as a 19-year-old, it's a numbers game thing for him.
Fair.
You could trade him and try to get something, or you just put him on waivers and someone scoops him up.
I thought they got another one.
So that's my whole uptake on it. I don't know. This is what I think. This is what you think.
We want to hear what you think.
We want to know what you think because you are the most important people. You are the ones that keep us above water when we're drowning. Drowning.
I knew that was coming. I knew you're going PSP. Yeah, I just I struggled to put apparently a roster together because I keep forgetting names. So I'm gonna enter this contest myself and see how good I can do. I just think I wanted to put Baerjean on, but I wasn't sure where he fit, and I think just you talked about Mercier playing that weird 2-half game camp thing that he played last year, and Baerjean didn't play a whole lot. I think he might go back down to midget AAA, but it is very difficult. Goaltending, that was one thing. Defensemen were probably the easiest, and forwards, and that's maybe why I think they might go acquire a veteran goaltender, just because they have a few extra assets like a Richard, like a Hamel, like an Olsen that you were thinking that they could maybe move these guys to bring in a veteran goaltender if that was the way they wanted to go.
I don't think it's necessary. What I will say is I fully expect Luke McPhee, Alex Mercier, and Eli Baerjean to be on this roster after Christmas.
Yeah, and that makes a ton of sense too.
Because, well, that would put them at what? That'd be 4 16-year-olds. Yeah. So, I mean, we'd probably need like a league exception, which is fine. They'll give it to us.
We'll get one.
If maybe more so not Baerjean. Maybe would play that full midget year.
Right.
But definitely McPhee and Mercier, I think, are here after Christmas. Mercier, I think, is going to tear up midget AAA to start the year. And I'm hoping Luke McPhee makes the Amherst Ramblers. Playing Junior A would only help him more. So those are just a couple things that I wanted to kind of add in there.
Sweet. All right. Well, like I said, like we said, those are our thoughts. We want to hear yours. Get your rosters to us in any of the DMs on any of the social medias, and give us your 18 skaters and your 2 goaltenders for a chance to win $50 Visa gift card from Jeremy and myself, basically for sticking with us for 5 years. We want to thank you by giving you this. So yeah, that'll do it for us on this show. Thanks again to friend of the show and voice of the Cape Breton Eagles, Pat McNeil, for joining us tonight. To look ahead to the Eagles season, we will have another guest next week as we look ahead to previewing the Mooseheads season. Don't forget tonight's game against Bathurst. Is it what?
Can we spoil next week's guest?
I can't yet, but
okay.
We might spoil it if we get authorization to spoil it.
If we can get this guest, we will be happy.
Yeah, to have him. So yeah, the Bathurst is at the brand new Uniplex in Dieppe. So get out and see the rink if you haven't, and support the hockey club as they get ready for the 2021-2022 season. That'll do it. Get your vaccines.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.